Hey everybody, Z Garcia here, and today we're taking a look at one of the latest additions in the long-running Zombicide series. This is Zombicide 2nd Edition. Zombicide 2nd Edition here, as you might be able to pick up from the title, is a reworking, a 2.0 version of the original Zombicide. And from that game and after that game came many different versions. Fantasy, sci-fi versions based on intellectual properties, all sorts of things. And now the company has gone back to the original setting, a modern setting with a zombie outbreak, and changed a few rules, tightened up the game basically, brought it up to speed to more closely resemble what is available now in this line of games, okay? So I'm going to give you a quick overview of how the game works, and then after that I'll give you some final thoughts. I should point out, I am not incredibly well-versed in Zombicide. I've played many of them. I've actually not played the original Zombicide, but I know there were some issues with it, which I'll talk about and address here. But I am the one I know the best is Zombicide Black Plague, which is pretty old at this point in the Zombicide line of games. But I've played several after that. Zombicide Invader, the sci-fi one, I've played that. So, again, I'll kind of give you my ideas and my thoughts on what I think about this package overall, both as part of that line and kind of, in a vacuum. Anyway, let's take a look at it. I'll see you soon. So here we have one of the scenarios set up and ready to begin. There are 25 scenarios in the book. And we're looking right now at scenario 6. In this one, what we are trying to do is gather food. We're breaking into the supermarket. We're going to gather food in here. We need 6 items of food, and they are in the search deck over here. And then we need to hop in one of the vehicles and get away. So that's what we are trying to do. Now, there's 6 characters, and normally there are 6. You divvy them up among however many players you've got at the table. If you've got 6 players, everybody can get 1. If you've got fewer than that, someone needs to double up with the characters. And every character is going to look something like this. So here we have this character, Wanda, and you begin with 3 life, and you have a starting ability based on your adrenaline. This is your adrenaline here. And as you cross the thresholds, go from 6 to 7, for example, you unlock the yellow level. Then eventually you cross this threshold, and then you can gain one of the 2 orange abilities, and so on for red when you peak over here at the max, all right? Now, a cool thing about it is, as you can see here at the beginning, Wanda has the ability to sprint. What does sprint mean? Well, on the back, it lets you know, sprint, right there. So that's pretty cool that they put that right on the back of the card. Any of the keywords are right there. Another kind of character in the game, by the way, and this is a new thing, are the kids in the game, which are a little bit icky to have kids be a lot of these survivors, but okay. And I'll say that some things are icky a couple of times that I feel like they should have been changed, but all right. So the kids only have 2 health. And by the way, if any one character runs out of health, the game is over and it ends in a loss. But the kids have an ability that is slippery, and they can, once per turn, get out of a group with zombies, basically exit that space without having to take a penalty to movement with that, okay? Which is normally expending extra actions to leave that space. So there you go. I'm going to go ahead and put my character aside again and give you basically a brief overview of how this flows. So we're going to start with the players. And everybody around the table is going to activate their character and take actions with that character, all right? Every player has, or every character has at the beginning of the game, 3 actions. You can do a few things with those actions. You can move. So here we go. That's me. I have the colored base there to prove it. So I can move for 1. I also have that sprint ability. Let's not forget that, where I could run a little farther for a single action. So I can move for 1. I can attack zombies. I can open doors if I have the correct item to open doors. I can trade items. I can pick things up, these locations and these. Now, these over here represent pimp weapons, which, again, a little icky. Why they're still called that, I don't know. And then there's also that car over there. This car here is called a pimp mobile. Okay. So when you go in here, if you take this, you're going to grab one of these weapons, and they are very souped up, powerful weapons. If you take one of these, it's going to be more adrenaline points, which will level you up. Unfortunately, leveling up in this game also means the zombies, as they spawn, are going to come at you with in bigger groups with more anger. There's just more going on. So as you level up, they level up is the idea, all right? So you do your three things. Let's say, you do 1, 2, 3 over here, and then other people will go a different way. You open doors and so forth. When you do open a door, you are going to check that you have the appropriate thing with which to open doors. So we'll take a look here at this fire axe. The fire axe here shows you across the bottom how it attacks and what it does when it attacks. And it also tells you up here that you can open doors with it. It makes noise, but you can open a door. All right. So we are going to do that. When you open a door, in this game, one thing they've changed is all the doors are pre-printed on the board, closed. And so you don't need to set a door there to then open it. You just assume that it's already printed there. It is printed there. And then when you open it, you just put a token there representing that it's broken. All right. Whenever you open a building, zombies will spawn in that building in all of these dark zones right here. And you will draw cards in order to do that. All right. So let's say we're going to come back to that. Let's say we're not going to spawn in there just yet. At the end of a round, when everybody has activated their survivors here, let's remove this for now, then we are going to move all the zombies on the board. They move towards the noisiest zone that they can, with survivors they can see, and then if they can't see any survivors, they just move towards the noisiest place. They've changed the rules in this one also for splitting up a group of zombies that can get to one place in using 2 equidistant paths. That's changed a little bit, okay? Where you now don't have to sort of add zombies to make the groups even. That rule, which was an old rule, is gone. And then you spawn. You start from here for the number 1 spawn spot, and you draw a card. So that's what this deck here is for. So let's take a look at it. So you draw a card, and it tells you what happens. Okay? You look at the current level of whoever is the highest at the table. Everybody's still in the blue adrenaline section. So we take a look here at that. It says walkers times 3. So we're going to add 3 walkers to it. And we are just going to grab 3 walkers and place them there. So let me do that. There we go. However, this is a new card type called Rush. And what that means is they spawn and then they activate. And so if this is the setup, they would activate and walk 1 towards the target zone that they choose. We flip another one. This is for fatties. So we put out 3 fatties in the zone where they would spawn. You just basically go around picking which one's next. So let me move this over here. All right, we're going to put 3 of them out. And they go right there. And then we spawn over there and we grab another one. There it is. Bloop. And this one is runners. So we put 1 runner over there. One thing I like that they did is they made the runners and the walkers are different shades of gray so that you can easily tell them apart, which is good because you cannot always tell that this is a runner as opposed to a walker. The models are not as obvious, I think, as some of the previous ones I've seen in some of the other editions of Zombicide. So we put a runner over there. Runners just move a little bit faster. Basically, they activate twice every time they activate. Same thing as I said, inside these locations, you just draw cards and spawn into the dark areas, and they show up. Always remembering that it's possible you'll draw a rush in which they show up and activate, but just that group. In previous games, we've had extra activation cards, like this one, that say, okay, well, if you're already in the yellow adrenaline zone, any one player is, all the runners activate. But they all activate on the board. The new rush cards only activate the people the ones that just got spawned. So pretty interesting. I like that concept. There's also now, if you get an abomination, such as this one here, At blue level, nothing happens, but then at yellow level, one abomination shows up, and the way you tackle that is you draw a card from the abomination deck right here. And depending on which one you get, that's the one that shows up. And so I like that you can grow or thin this deck out to change which abominations you play with, and you don't have to mess with the main spawn deck. You can just change the cards in here. You can get some of the extra abominations and throw them into this deck, remove some of the ones you don't like, and then you just shuffle this up every time an abomination shows up and flip and see what you get. I like this idea, making them a secondary deck that you can flip from. So that's neat. So that's the general flow of the game. You are going to be, again, trying to make sure everybody is healthy and alive. To attack, because if any one person goes down, the game is over, which is also a change. In some of the previous editions, like Black Plague, players could die, the characters could die, and you would continue without them. In this one, if a single one goes down, you're done playing and you lose. All right? So, attacking the zombies. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. There's two kinds of weapons. We've got here our character, so I'm going to move this spawn deck. And we're going to put our character right there. So we've got our zombies right here. We've got our survivors. There's two kinds of weapons. We have melee weapons and we have ranged weapons. The melee weapons, you need to be in the space with them, of course. So let's say our intrepid survivor here is going to walk in there for one action and then attack. They roll one die, they hit on a 4 or better, and they do a certain amount of damage. It also tells you if it's noisy or not. And when things are noisy, you put noise tokens there to which will attract zombies, okay? So, all right, I'm going to roll one die. It's a 2. That is not enough to meet the 4 in order to take them out. Let's say I've already walked in here, opened this door, dealt with whatever zombies showed up, and I'm going to grab this crate right here. That means I draw a card from this deck, and I have a new weapon. So now I have a golden AK-47. Okay, well this one is going to be, allows me to shoot at spaces 1 or 2, so I can shoot 1 space away, or even if they're here, 2 spaces away, with these lines denoting the edges, okay, of the board. So I can shoot into this space. I'm going to be rolling 3 dice, and I hit on 4s or better. Well, let's try that out. Here we go. That's 2 of them. I take out 2 of these, and each one of these gives me 1 adrenaline point, so I'm going to move up the slider and, make my way up there, eventually earning new abilities, but also checking the second level on all of these spawn cards, which would be bad for us. So there we go. That's what's going on in the game, and that's how you're attacking. To surge is also an action, and when you surge, let's go ahead now and pretend we've opened up our door. So we've done that. We've spawned into all of the dark locations. So let's see, what do we got? 3 fatties. Okay. Let's go ahead and add some of those fellas to the board. They're going to show up in here. This is, very bad, of course. Especially when you open up a giant room like this, that these are all connected. That's going to be pretty bad. We've got here 1 runner, which is going to show up there. We're going to spawn over here now, and we have Walker Rush for 3 walkers. All right, well, they show up in here, and then they move closer to the noisiest place. So we're going to walk them out here. It would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and if you go this way, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So they'll split. Okay. Then we spawn in here and here and here, and in this one I skipped, and this one, that's fine. So let's say we're in here now. If you're in a space with no zombies, you can search. When you search, you can do it once per turn. It's very simple. You draw a card from the search deck, and you are going to get whatever it gives you. Some of these are food, water, and various things like that. And in this scenario, we're especially looking for those. Some of them are just weapons, ranged weapons, melee weapons. We've got the Molotovs, and these have also been changed from some of the previous editions. Used to be you needed the flame and you needed the combustible part in 2 separate cards, and then you could combine them for a Molotov. Now it's just a single card. You can use this, throw it one space away from you. So say if I'm here, I can throw it into this space and take out all the zombies in there. And this is the only way to take out an abomination because none of our weapons will hurt that. So there you go. That's what's going on. There's also these plenty of bullets cards that let you re-roll dice when you are using a melee weapon that uses, a ranged weapon that uses that kind of ammunition. You do not have to reload weapons in this game. You assume you have infinite bullets, okay? So that's the flow. You are, again, just trying to survive. There's a reminder card here to help you out with the cars and the way the cars behave. It tells you, the actions you can do. You jump into them and drive them around. And then on the back is the other car, the horribly named Pimp Mobile. So there you go. So that should give you an idea of what's going on. I'll give you a look here at a couple of these abominations as well. So there's one there. They kind of look a little samey, the ones in the core box anyway. These abominations are just sort of, I don't know, they're not that distinct. Some of the ones that you get in other packs are very different. All sorts of creepy crawlies and strange creatures and stuff. These are just big, chunky dudes, like very beefy looking guys, strong guys. And so they do look a little samey. All right, so that's a very general overview of what's going on in the game. Hopefully that gives you an idea of what's happening, the things you can expect to see. And I will expand on how this all feels and what it translates to up top. So let's go ahead and go there now. All right, so there it is. Let's go ahead and break this down, shall we? I'm going to start with my target audience system here, and then I'll talk about some things I like, some things I didn't like, in case they don't come up naturally in this conversation. So we'll start with the theme. I like the theme in this game. Of course, you already know kind of if you like the theme right away from the box what the game's about. I like the zombie theme. I like the hordes of zombies coming out you, spawning, chasing you down, all of that stuff. It's the same theme as basically all of them, except each one kind of changes the setting. In this one, it's just here and now, modern setting, and I like it. I think it works well. The aesthetics are good. A very stylized look for all the characters, all the illustrations. I like the illustrations for this game, but everything does have now, looking at this, and again, using as my main point of reference, Zombicide Black Plague, everything looks very sleek. The designs, the iconography for things, just the very bold color choices and things like that are clean, vibrant. They really pop. And things are well made. There are a couple of the zombies that, like the runners, like have, they don't really look like they're booking it, right? So they just sort of look like slightly faster shambling. And they do have little supports on some of the legs. I guess they just had to put that in there. Not a big deal, but, I guess if you paint them, that might look a little weird, having like a rod that comes down from their foot to the ground that's clearly there only for support. I wish they would have found a way to make that an organic part of the miniature. Maybe he's pushing off of a lamppost or something, and then you can attach it to the ground that way. I don't know. But anyway, overall aesthetics, good. The replay value is very high because there's a ton of missions in this box. Like I said, 25 missions. That's not counting any extra material you can get for the game or any of that stuff. Just buying this box, which is really the only thing I'm looking at here. That's a lot of missions, a lot of replayability. So I like that they included that many. I like that they do feel like you are tackling various things in them. Some of them are, escort type missions. Some of them are clear the board sort of missions. Some of them are about searching for something, right? So it works fine. I like it. It's going to keep you coming back. If you enjoy the core system, then you got plenty there to explore. Okay, game arc is also good. The game is still a little long, okay? I don't know why companies do this, but this one says on the box, 1 hour. No, not really, okay? They even have one mission listed at 30 minutes in the box. They will take a little longer than that. I mean, you'd have to be really booking through your turns. or just have an early death, to have the games be that short. But is it faster than some of the previous ones? Yes. I assume it's much faster than the original one, but even Black Plague, which is a fantasy setting one, by the way, like, Middle Ages, Dark Ages fantasy setting. Yes, it does feel faster than that. It kind of feels punchier. You get going more quickly. It seems like the game ramps up more quickly. So I don't know if technically it takes less time. I think it does, but not like, not 45 minutes. But it does feel like you're doing more quickly, and that's what I'm talking about there. So that's the game mark holds true, where the action ramps up and you're into action movie mode more quickly. Now, ease of play. They've streamlined lots of things here, but I feel like they could have gone even further. There are some things I wish they would have simplified. I'm still like the sound system and the noise tokens. I know in one of the newer ones, in fact, one that they kickstarted after this one, they changed the sound, the way that the noise works, with a single token on the board just marking the absolute loudest thing that happened for the round. And I wish they would have done that by this point already, because you have all these noise tokens that show up everywhere. You have to figure out, okay, what's the noisiest spot, and then clear them all off the board. You forget to put them out when you do an action sometimes. So I just don't like that. I think it's time for an update for that system. And I guess we got one, but I don't know if they could, retrofit it to this. A lot of other things are different and are meant to help you get up to speed more quickly. Like I showed you the characters on the back of the card, which for several of the other games was just wasted space. They would show you artwork, but that was it. Well, now they give you keywords back there. Fantastic. Those things have got to be done. So kudos to them for finally doing something with the back of those cards, where before it's just wasted space, where you could be helping me play more quickly by giving me information right there. Lastly, tactics, luck, strategy. It's lucky. There's a lot of luck. There are some neat new things that are tactical and interesting, like the zombie rush thing is one of my favorite new things in this one, where you might spawn into a room and then they immediately activate. And that's not a mass activation. Those are very rare, and they're, it's a big thing. These are like little bursts of speed, and it changes your thought process as to when you open a door. Maybe you shouldn't, this might put me in a tough spot depending on where I am in turn order. I have to be careful I don't walk into a zombie rush. So I like those. I think they do make you think differently about what you should and shouldn't do. I also like that, and I don't know if this was in the original Zombicide, but when a single character dies, the mission is over, unless otherwise specified. Whereas in Black Plague, you can, if a character goes down, you keep playing without that character. That means player elimination, right? If you are playing with 6 people and one person's character dies, the other 5 of you keep playing. And they can sit there and watch, but that's it. And that could happen. Now, there's basically no longer player elimination. If someone is eliminated, the game is over and you've all lost collectively. So I think that's a good idea. Now let me talk about some other things, okay? The things I like and don't like that I didn't cover here. Zombie Rush I talked about. I really like that. The abominations and the way that's handled with a deck of abominations, and if you buy more or there's some you don't like, you can add them in or remove their cards respectively, okay? Faster setup because the doors are pre-printed on the board. There are symbols where you need to put the crates, where you need to put the experience boosters, the adrenaline things. No player elimination, I talked about that. A couple of things I don't like. Some of the updates they could have done, I feel that they, again, could have gone a little bit further. But the 2 main things is the kids is a new thing as far as I can tell to this one. And almost half the survivors included in this core box are children. And they have less health, and they have that slippery thing once per turn. I feel kind of icky playing with children. surviving a zombie apocalypse and sort of like a little kid wielding a shotgun or something. I don't like that. So that's one thing I wish they would not have included. They could have had weak, slippery characters. That's fine, and have that be a thing. The fact that it is, every time a character has 2 health and slippery, that is categorically a child, I don't like that. The other thing is what I assume is a carryover from the original one, and that is the pimp weapons and the pimp mobile. Come on. These are so, for one thing, they are meaningless in the game. They don't relate to anything. It's something, I guess, that the characters in the game say because these things are banging. They're awesome. So it's a cool car, so it's a pimp mobile. And the weapons are incredibly powerful and awesome, so they're pimp weapons. It's so tacky. It's so dated. I wish they would have just renamed that category of thing, renamed the car, because this is a fresh start. This is the moment to do it. And they have no in-game world meaning. There aren't pimps in this game. So it just doesn't make any sense. And it's so cringeworthy that I could see it being a real problem to some people getting into the game. The kids in this is just, ugh, you know? So those are my 2 main issues with the game. Having said all that, assuming that the game is, just taking the game for what it is, comparing it also to the other ones I have played, this is one of my favorites. I do think they have done a really good job bringing a lot of things up to speed. I like the setting here. I like the zombie rush more than a lot of these other little variants that some of the other games have done, like Green Horde did that buildup of zombies and eventually they spilled forth onto the board. That's okay. I really like the rush, the quick bursts, unpredictable little quick bursts. I enjoy that system more. And the game does feel faster than especially Black Plague. In fact, I went ahead and pulled out my Black Plague and kind of messed with it a little bit. And yeah, it's a little more sluggish. The weapons sometimes need to be reloaded. Opening doors is a little bit more of a hassle. You sometimes have to roll to open a door. Here, if the thing can open doors, it opens the door. The weapons, none of them are reloadable. Not every weapon needed to be reloaded in Black Plague, but here, none of them need to be reloaded. And the fire, right? The Molotov cocktail, and the other one you have the dragon bile and then torches. And you have to combine those 2 things to blow up abominations. Here you just toss that thing. Yeah, it's just a lot cleaner in many ways. I just wish they would have gone a little bit further. So I know that this game is definitely not for everybody. A lot of people just don't like the system, don't like the idea. And it is kind of like, they've flogged this horse, There are a lot of Zombicide games. Looking at this, in mostly a vacuum, assuming maybe you've got one from the previous ones, which I do, whether it's Zombicide or maybe Black Plague, one of those, and you're looking at whether you want to get this one, yeah, because I'm going to rate it an 8 out of 10. It's a seal of approval, and I do like it. Now, if you have every Zombicide game, I don't know. How many do you need? At that point, I guess get it. But it doesn't feel that revolutionary. But if you're jumping from original Zombicide to this, I can only assume that's a giant, giant leap. And in fact, in the rulebook, they include a panel that says that lists the differences from that very original one. But yeah, they've done some interesting things here. I like the speed, and I like what's going on in it. So fun. If you like this sort of thing, Zombicide 2nd edition, 8 out of 10. I like it. And if you're looking to get one of these, this is a good one to jump into. Kind of a new beginning, right? So there you go, everybody. My name is Z Garcia. Thanks for checking this out with me. I'll see you on the next one.